Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining me today. If this is your first time, my name is Dennis, and welcome to my art channel. Today, I've got a painting with watercolors. This is going to be an abstract, nothing too structured, just going right in with my favorite color, my favorite pigment, dioxazine purple. Trying to touch every edge, every corner with this violet before I go in with any other color. Fill out the entire page here. This is a hot press Arches watercolor paper, watercolor pad, and it's a smooth kind of paper, so it allows me to just softly move the brush around, and it tends to just take whatever form the brush has rather than having much texture in the paper itself like my last painting. A little bit of play between super saturated areas and areas saturated more with water than with pigment, and it serves as a base, sort of a abstract underpainting for my abstract painting. Preparatory drawing, preparatory painting rather, but one that will serve hopefully as the basis of every future mark. And if you were to sort of skim through the video, you'd see the dramatic progression as I'm not gonna so much cover this purple as I will try to blend it with other colors and sort of allow it to take a new form. It's interesting using the secondary color like this as a base. Usually I feel like I go with the primary, like yellow or sometimes blue as a base, because it becomes a lot easier to understand what colors are gonna develop when mixing, since anything mixed with the violet is gonna end up becoming a tertiary color. So second level behind primary, since 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and then you get what is that, 12 tertiary colors between those. I'm probably wrong, but I'm not gonna pull out a color wheel just to explain the coloring process, but I feel like I'm choosing purple today just because it's my favorite color. Why is purple mine? I feel like for me, I have a connection with the color because of 2 things. This shirt that I used to wear in high school, I remember, a few shirts that I would wear were this purple tone. I don't know why I started wearing them, but for some reason I remember my friend looking around in the city for me, and he was like asking people, where's the big guy in the purple shirt? And I feel like that always stuck around with me, of purple being a bit of a unique color in that regard. Like, big purple shirt is standout kind of a thing. And then for me, the most common purple that I see, and my favorite, is the one that you can see in the sky at sunset, especially on a cloudy day when it flecks into the clouds and you see all sorts of variations of the color, and it sort of transitions between a golden yellow into like a dark, like shadowy kind of a violet into the distance. I feel like a lot of the time I'm chasing that kind of vibe in my paintings, because for me that's probably one of the most serene kind of experiences, and it's something very simple and sort of daily accessible. It's not like you have to wait for an eclipse or wait for the full moon every once a month. You can go out tonight, you know, when just check on the internet when the sun is gonna set for the area, and just take a look west, and there you will hopefully find some interesting colors, some combinations of some dark oranges, some reds, some maybe some blues in there, but hopefully in between all of that will be some nice gorgeous violets, and that's my favorite color you'll find in that sunset. Yeah. I think as a child, my favorite color was green. I would wear a lot of green in my clothing, and any time that I could use it as a crayon for a drawing or otherwise, I think I would regularly go to the greens. I would never mix them myself like I do now with yellow and a blue. I just use whatever Crayola would give you. I think forest green is a iconic one, but I feel like it's a natural color and one that I still am fond of to this day, but I don't see it so much in my own artwork as I did in the past. Maybe I stay away from it because it's something a bit more innocent to me compared to the violet that I adore as an adult. Try to keep it precious and a little more sparse than a painting like this, where I've used this very deep color. It's entirely one color for my base here. I feel like I need to pass the question off to you now. What's your favorite color? Is it something that you have a reason behind, or just something that you feel out? You just feel like, you know, just one color that if you were to have a whole array, a whole rainbow of colors, you'd be able to pick out that one that's just the one that feels right. I'm curious, because for me, I always feel like violet is right. Any kind of situation, there's some tone. You know, it doesn't have to be a hyper saturated. It could just be very light, very faint, almost pink kind of violet. But I feel like it works in a lot of situations, and I try to incorporate it in my paintings, since it is something that is deeply connected to my person and personal kind of I don't want to say beliefs, because I don't think it's much belief to be like, yes, this is my favorite color, but I think as a artist it's important for myself to know what this color that I so much want to use means, at least personally. I know historically, I think purple is like associated with some sort of like regalness. Like the dye itself used to be quite expensive, so it's considered a luxury sort of color, just due to the rare occurrence of it in nature. But that said, no matter what time you are in human history, you can always look west to see the sunset. So it always goes back to that for me. More than violet now, though. This painting has every color that, well, not every color, but the main primaries have dropped in. Some yellow, some violet, and a bit of blue. And I'm using it as a guide to blend between. I'm using a finer brush to get in some details, whether they're people or buildings or trees. There's something in the abstract that I feel like I shouldn't say too much of what these forms are, but they are forms nonetheless. And to me, they feel a bit organic, but the layering of them feels a bit structured, a bit man-made. Like perhaps a person put this together rather than Mother Nature. But that's the secret, is that I'm the one that put this together, this world. Thank you for taking a gander at this world. I hope that there's something for you to enjoy in this world. Between these different colors, the gradients that form in between them, perhaps there's a line that might connect from one corner to the other that's interesting enough to be like, yes, this is where my eye wants to go. This is the guiding line. I don't think that there's any one line that I've sent all the way across the page, but there are some very distinct marks that hopefully allow you to bounce around the page and not linger too long in one area. Because I think that is what, for me, is not as interesting in art, is when there's only one focus, one thing to look at. When you have so much canvas to be able to play with, I want to be able to use as much as possible in the viewing experience. But it's not up to me. Let me know what you think. If this has been an interesting viewing experience. For me, it's been an interesting creation experience. I've got almost every square inch here covered with some intentional marks. Not too much white of the paper left on the page, but where there is white, it's really more of the light violet wash left over from the very beginning of the painting. And I know at this point that I'm nearing the completion because I'm more focused on what's going on at the corners and filling in some final little lines than I am on the bigger kind of picture and making any significant sort of changes. Instead, I feel like I'm just adding some little details where they feel like they're needed. I might not need them, but at the same time, I'm going to keep painting until I feel like it's done. And I think that's the time now. It just doesn't feel right to add another mark. It's not totally dry. As usual with watercolor, it does sort of soften, lighten up as it dries. Some areas do darken, but I expect it to be lighter with how dark some of the wet violet is on this page. But looking close, you can see how the gradients are and how the layers of wash have developed into an interesting array of color. To me, it feels lively, but What does it feel for you? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to know. But without further ado, I must go. Thank you so much for joining me in this painting. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe to follow my art journey. I post a new video every Friday, so I hope to see you next week. Take care. Peace.